The movie starts off laying the groundwork, taking us back 10 years into the past. Don't want us watching the movie with Patrick Star level confusion.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
Low key, mayonnaise is an instrument of tuna fish sandwich enhancement. Kinda poetic if you ask me. My bad, back to the movie. We have this dad, Jonah, a mover, just walking the hell out of his son Nick, another mover. Like, I get it, the panic, but at this point, pick me up. You got the collar on my neck like a leash. I know we're on the verge of getting put down like some dogs, but I don't want the last moment of my life getting walked like one. That's just me though. The reason why dad was pushed,
he said it.
Ing, was because some X-Men, we now have Sentinels and we're hunting down all you mutants. Tomfoolery was going on. But imagine it was your own kind doing it to you. Jonah told him in the future a girl's gonna give him a flower and he had to help that girl. She's gonna save their kind. And judging from the 10 years into the past we had to travel, it took him 10 years to get a girl to give him flowers. He beat my record. I'm still waiting, like damn, I wanna save some psychics as well. But imagine if we had a Valentine and she gave him a bunch of flowers and he spent their entire relationship trying to save her. But all jokes aside, remember not too long ago in the hall, he was pushing his son and the maid didn't want to make eye contact with him? She was hitting that hitman, I'm turning my head, some invisible maneuver. Well, it worked because she put out a walkie-talkie, then pressed the button, pulled out a gun, and her backup arrived dressed in tactical gear. She was planning to clean an entire bloodline. Jonah told his son, don't do anything that a watcher could track. Told Nick to be on his way because the division was there, and with a little push, he moved Nick through a vent into the hallway. While a black dude entered the scene, Henry Carver, a pusher. Man was flexing everything. Did he have the first gold Apple Watch? Because the cameraman was making sure we saw it. And with that, Nick was now an orphan. They took his father off the map. But the way Henry walked away, you would think he got active. The man can make people think. He doesn't get in the field, he whispers sweet nothings making you do it. You can't walk away like that. But then again, you control thoughts, so you could decide what's cool, I guess. But the movie explains what the division is. They are a government entity trying to convert psychics into weapons. Same old with the government creating problems. But the same voice that explained the division to us was another important character introduced to us. Cassie Holmes, a watcher. And she was talking big during the intro, talking about the division was winning a lot of battles, but it was their time to win the war. But right after the explanation, we cut to a scene to witness the first person who survived the injection of a power boosting drug, Kara, a pusher. And after that, she escaped from the lab with a dose of the drug with the help of a marble that was dropped long before she flatlined and got back up. For a secret facility, their staff was a little light. Must be going through budget cuts or something. Hire a guard or two at least. It was looking so bad for them, Henry was like, call the sniffers.
What the hell is even that?
Sniffers? Like prime Barbie Brown? Imagine awakening an ability and you could smell the hell out of something so well you can see the past and present of that object. Take a bite out of some fried chicken and the aroma of that seasoned bird hit your nose, and the next thing you know, you're on old McDonald's farm, seeing how a little fella grew up. But sniffing being a lame power aside, why was this man so confused when Henry told him to get the sniffers? To smell the girl's sheets and locate her. She escaped. That's not good for job performance. He deadass was like,
but she's on foot. She can't get far.
You're honestly an idiot.
Nobody's pursuing her. Nigga, get the running then. Be a track star if you don't want to dial on the phone. She was on foot getting further away. And hell, for all we know, the serum in her system had her out there like Steve Rogers hitting great strides. Burning thigh meat like rubber at a track meet. A pusher with steroids. The world was damn near hers. Speaking of Steve Rogers, we see modern day Nick practicing how to use his powers to cheat and wasting no time putting it to use. Never mind, it didn't work. Man got kicked in his face. That is not what happened during his practice. And seeing his life, I can see why he didn't get any flowers in his life yet. But his troubles were not over yet. Losing money, getting his ass beat. Now the division was at his house and they found him through a 10-year-old toothbrush. Okay, Sniffer isn't a power for me. I'll be pissed to have this power, but low-key, it's broken. If a toothbrush lasts 10 years, dirty drawers must be like an air tag. And look at him. I don't think he's psychic. I just think he's kanky. What is he smelling?
Bro, what you on?
Nigga, I am right here. You do not need to look for me, nor do you need to see what I was doing with that cloth object. What's next? Smelling my sheets to see if I entertain the opposite sex? Trying to get some pointers? Then he smelled the towel. You freaky ass nigga. What is he, a body wash bandit? Nigga plucked both his nostrils with it. I can't even focus on the dialogue of the other dude while Mr. Smell It All was smelling the entire damn house. But then again, the other dude was no better either. Over here reaching orgasmic eye rolls, still peering into Nick's memories. Did they stop by the house to harass his objects? Like, what if he wanted to finish that sip in that cup? Man was making love to the rim with his finger. Okay, finally, we get the reason why they're there. there. They are looking for Kara, and they believe Nick knows where she's at, which he doesn't. The only friends he have are people he owe money to. But look at this man. He got the bristles of the toothbrush up his nose, deeper than the Kleenex during flu season. Does the object need to touch your brain in order for the smell to register? Okay, never mind, he just took it anyway. Man's gonna have boogers on the bristles like Colgate. I would have put the gun Nick had stashed in the drawer to use, only because they'll walk around like they were like that.
Turn my back, nobody gonna do nothing, nigga.
And the only thing they could do is smell what the Rock is cooking. But the moment they left, Nick started packing. Where are you gonna go? They have your toothbrush. Y'all soul tied now. Damn near has a cold gateway to your location. That was pointless. Not as pointless as this. He slowed his panic packing to levitate his pistol. Why? I can't begin to tell you. Nigga must have thought they smelled away his telekinesis, making sure they didn't leave the house with it. That's when another problem showed up. Another psychic. A watcher, considering she called him and knew he was holding a gun in his hand. After the smellers, what's next? Peeping Toms? Close enough. Cassie. And I was right, a watcher. She came because he was supposed to help her find $6 million. And she offered to buy him a meal when they walked away. No. I do not want a visit from Chris Hansen. Take that $6 million and meal elsewhere. But the plot progresses. They go get food and talk about the money, which has something to do with the girl Kara. And this was enough for Nick to say no to their job. But moments after rejecting the offer of getting involved in anything that's regarding the division, problems in the shape of psychic power humans surrounded them. The Triad, who was also looking for Kara. And the crazy thing to me is Nick had yet to see Kara one time. Why is everybody on his bumpy? Why is everybody on his bumper? I don't think they're looking hard enough. If all the trails keep leading to a man who never saw her once, y'all trash. But you see Cassie here? She was planning to make something shake, trying to sneak Nick's gun from his waistband, but the female Triad member caught her. But Cassie be talking too sweet, words like a bag of pure cane. Even with a gun upped on her, she was no napkin, no folding in her DNA. Yeeted the gun at the female Triad member. Cassie, I mess with her passion, I really do. In which you do stand tall. I respect that. No falter. But you see, that right there is a gun. It's a ranged weapon. That's not how you use a motherfucker. I mean, you can technically throw it, but it's not efficient, especially if you miss. Had Nick trying to cop a plea, but when he lifted his hands, his power erupted prematurely. All those years of no action, his powers got a little too excited. But we get introduced at this point to a new type of psychic. We have movers, pushers, watchers, sniffers. Now we have moaners. Bleeders. Gave this man wide mouth DLC, and it wasn't open wide for no reason. The man was screaming, destroying all the surrounding glass and exploding fish. Boy, it's a good thing Nick and Cassie was not made of glass or Nemo's cousin. Had Nick doing some dumb shit, turning around and gently placing the knives in front of the dude's feet with telekinesis. Man, you could just continue running, but you shouldn't feel too bad. The bleeders were more cheeks than the sniffers. Cassie walked in front of one, like a deer in the headlights, a prime target for vocal harassment, and was already running in the opposite direction before his voice even started to do anything. Man could have just had a gun at that point. That's exactly why they made Cassie yeet the gun. Nick would have soloed them with that thing. Man needed some tea and a cough drop to warm up his throat. Again, they were breaking more glass. But here's the part that kills me. The lady with the gun, the watcher, used her ability to predict their movements and sent the screaming twins to deal with them instead of moving to the location with her gun. Guess what happened? Okay, it worked. I was already preemptively talking shit. I had to continue doing it. I was wrong. They're still ass, but I was wrong. But come to find out, if you don't try to run from their screams, it actually does something. So they are very optimal against Stephen Hawking caliber opponents. One of the bleeders stood over Nick and showed Cassie and us. You know what I'm saying? Because we doubted him. You too. You watching, you doubted them too. Why they called bleeders? Nick ears were experienced at this time of the month. Like, what do they gain by messing up a person's hearing? Gonna question him in sign language? You wanna know where Kira's at? Got him death. That level of blood from his ears, he was definitely gonna be hearing and dial up for the rest of his life. That's internet for people who don't know. And Nick was trying to be like his father in his last moments, being heroic and push Cassie out the way, out of danger. But they had to stop serenading him because the future way he was with the escape woman was starting to change. Then the camera cuts to the POV of that very woman, Kara, just cooling on a boat while the world searches for her. Not very well, I might add. They could see the future pertaining to this girl as long as Nick is there. And now Nick's name is written on her mirror. They love this man Nick. Nick can win a dice game while cheating. No disrespect, but come on, there's no other feasible mover with capabilities you can use. Just him. But we don't follow Kara for long because the camera cuts back over to Cassie using her psychic powers to find Nick, who was in the grasp of a stitch. Again, another psychic. She's a healer this time though. And the way she was healing Nick, she could keep it. Look at his face. You would think, no lie, that the person healing him was Fleece Johnson. This man was making a face contorted with suffering, sculpted with pure agony. And like, do you need to be so rough while healing me? But let me explain why she even helped to begin with. Apparently Cassie's mother Elizabeth helped the Stitch a while ago, and this is her repaying a favor. But before she started healing Nick, she started talking trash about Cassie's mother. I mean, not really trash talk, more taunting Cassie because the division got her mother and they were treating her like a clinical trial, pumping her with so many drugs. They were looking for side effects. Hell, probably even hoping for a little something to happen to her. But after all that, the plot brings us back to the father words. Help the girl who gives you a flower, which turned out to be Cassie as she handed him a flower after he awoke from being healed by the Stitch. But Dad, you never mentioned I should train my abilities because this man in a matter of 20 minutes after meeting the flower girl herself got put through the ringer and there was no volume button to mute it. A little heads up, like son, keep your hands up to date. There was so many updates Nick passed on by not fully being one with his ability. But that aside, remember when someone dropped a marble that aided Kara's escape? Well, that was Cassie's mother. She was still moving things better than Nick as a drugged up watcher. She was doing more than just watching at this point. Call her Ryan Coogler because she was directing, or Michael Bay because her plays were explosive. But one thing I don't understand, why her visuals act like it only had one channel involving movers, having her hyper-fixate on Nick. Maybe he's a late shower, like Nick at night. He need to dust the cobwebs off and he'll be different. But from some dialogue between Nick and Cassie, we learned about the thing regarding to them making millions. It was in regards to getting a girl in the case that Cassie claims could allow her to release her mother. But I'm not hearing the part where the millions coming at. Unless that case is from The Price is Right or your mother's father is a man on the Monopoly game, you got me f***ed up.
I am flabbered the fuck gasket.
Alright, I'm a destined hero. I'm supposed to remain poor like Spider-Man. And Nick understood the script and accepted they had to get the girl in the case. He was still gung-ho even when Cassie showed them both dead, depicted by one of her visions. But low-key, I wouldn't be afraid either if I saw that. She's not batting 100. Her visions are low-key kinda ass. The camera cuts back to Kara just walking down a busy street like she's not wanted by an organization with niggas that like to smell the past. Speaking of which, guess who was sniffing around? The bloodhounds in suits. They were on her trail. But why didn't they call for backup? Y'all can smell the hell out of our location, but can you smell a fade? They approached Kara. A pusher hopped on gamma radiation for the mind and thought a good sense of smell would be enough to prevail. It was. They had a gun. I let them incorporate modern weaponry into their arsenal. Cause tell me a John Wick mover wouldn't be fired. But without much resistance, they apprehend Kara and was on the verge of taking her to her airplane. When we cut to the car, and this bald was smelling her lipstick, damn near getting his nipples hard doing so. But right here is where he made a bad blunder. They bound and gagged the pusher like she needed to move to use her ability. And when Bald Dude looked back to taunt her about taking her back to the facilities, she pushed that she needed to go to the bathroom into his mind. And it was in that very bathroom she started to use her abilities, planting memories into his mind. Something so devious that his fellow sniffing Wonder Twin killed his brother. A brother that he never really even had. But did that stop him from succumbing to her influence? Nah. Walking out the bathroom but here's the part that get me. After completing the deed and the influence of her words wore off, he rushed back to the bathroom like she was still gonna be there, wait for him to return. Okay, she was there. My bad. I figured she would have been gone. I'm the dumbass here. But I see why she stayed. They fought and he lost. She doesn't even have psychic powers, just proficient at running hands. But Henry, this man was different. His eyes went full black when he so effortlessly implanted the thought into the bald dude's head to turn his head into a bowl, a big enough opening for a bowl of Crafton Crunch. That was just giving us more lore on our antagonist. After that, Nick and Cassie head to a club where they meet with Hook Waters, a shifter, a man who can make illusions, and former associate of the division, who made them a bead using his abilities from Cassie Vision, then referred them to a sniffer that can assist them. The bead I forgot to mention is important because that was what Kara dropped during her fight with the bald guy. And then the bald guy, after getting his ass beat, brought a bag of beads to Henry, in which Henry was planning to use to locate Kara, passing out one to every sniffer in the area. But that aside, Nick and Cassie make it to the sniffer's place, a business, dropped Hookwater's name, and got an audience. But she needs a lot of convincing to help them, like damn, smell the make-believe bead or something. I don't really know what they want her to do. That's not really the girl's bead, so her scent can't be on that thing. Oh, okay. Just so happened, she has one of the real beads belonging to Kara in her drawer, waiting to be smelled. And once she took a hit of it, the images came together, dividing them an address to locate the girl at. But it was at that address where the camera switches back to Kara's POV, and she's not really hiding at all. The division need to hire a new addition to the team or something. This level of incompetence I'm seeing is not adding up. Why are they feared? I mean, then again, some people do have fear of milk, a great aid to Oreo improvement. Can really have people tripping. No disrespect to the individuals. I feel your struggle. I'm afraid of alarm clocks. Every time they ring, I have to get up for work. Anyway, Kara walked up to this random couple and pushed the idea that she was an old friend to their mind. So so she could score a free ride. But that plan was put off faster than a forest fire. Smokey the Bear was there. She spotted Nick and Cassie, but her eyes were mostly locked on Nick as she freed her Glock from her inventory and wasted no time and started blasting. What is she on? She was trying to write Crazy Story Part 4 now that Kevon's gone. In her mind, this was a no hesitation walk down. She saw Nick's name on the mirror and tried to eradicate him just to not finish the job and walk away. But come to find out, Nick knew Kara the entire time before she was caught by the division. But now they have the girl Kara, they can get the very start of the case, right? Wrong. Yet another psychic type was introduced to us, but not on screen, a wiper. And as the name suggests, they could wipe memories. Kara had her memories of the case wiped, so the division couldn't find it. Funny thing is, now she can't either. The only clue she had was a note she wrote to herself about Nick and how he was gonna be able to help her find it. I don't know how, but I guess. And Cassie, the girl who wanted to find Kara the most, was like, let's drop her.
What?
Like a label once they can no longer bleed you for money. She said Kara was making the future worse by just being with them, showing the picture depicting their death again. But this time her mother got to be an add-on DLC to the Afterlife expansion pack. But Nick simply wanted to hire a shadow, yet another psychic with the ability to hide people from being tracked. But Cassie stormed to vent her frustration, but like, y'all came and bothered him. Your mother built the plan around him, when the simple solution was a rebellion with those who are tired of the division. But the plot progresses, Pinky, a shadow, get added to the group to stop the sniffers from being able to locate Kara. But deadass, that plan doesn't even matter because the watcher from the tryouts from the beginning of the movie pulled up on Cassie and popped her shit, told her the shadow that they hired can't really stop them from finding the girl and the case. And also, her family's gonna blow their brains up once they find it. You know, with their Mariah Carey vocals, causing Cassie to get drunk. Head back to the room where Pinky basically confirmed that she wasn't lying. He can't stop them. He cannot hide Kara for a long time. Watchers are really like that. My guy, your power is low-key kinda ass. That's not me saying it, but it is. Imagine being a pusher and can't implant thoughts into black people's minds. You can only do it to people from India. Trash, right? Being a shadow is kinda lame. Yeah, you can fool the sniffers, that's kinda cool, but you're telling me once a watcher becomes a peeping Tom, it's over? You can't do nothing? I guess. And with all the information later in front of them, do you think they heeded it and begun to act? Nah. They went to sleep and would have got caught lacking if it wasn't for Cassie popping up and I'm assuming warning them because the triad definitely found them. But here's the part that gets me. She brought her brothers, the screamers, you know, with her to scream apart a piece of the door to open it. Just kicked the door at that point. 2 seconds. The scream was 5 seconds. And they had to tag team the door. And another thing I'm learning, they can't scream with their glasses on. But they still had a case to find. But Nick had other plans. He called Emily, the sniffer, to help with the bead and asked her to use that same bead to see if she could locate a pusher named Henry. That's right, the main antagonist with 50 minutes remaining in the movie. What could go wrong? Nonetheless, he finds him at a restaurant, pulled out 2 pistols from his waistband, and used telekinesis to levitate them to their heads, and then proceed to have an entire conversation with him. My guy, pull the trigger. What do you want to talk about? This man Henry said he had 20 of the best watchers divine this very moment, and the only person that dies was Nick, and Nick alone. This is enough to make me want to pull the trigger. Nick put out the cannon but was afraid to make his gun recreate the rhythm of a drum line. Instead, he allowed Henry words to sow doubt into his resolve, talking about how Kara is their patient zero. They was gonna use her to make an army. And also, hold on, I'll get back to the army part in a second. She needs them because without the serum, she's gonna die. You turned my girl into a junkie? A psychic junkie? Oh no, you guys are devious. I knew you guys was deviants, but this is devious. But back to the army piece. Army of what? Trash? I have yet to see Kara do something power related that had me like this.
Ooh, this is nice.
Yeah, she pieced the dude up with hands, but unless that was a super soldier serum, it's not really working. You know what else isn't working? Nick's brain. Man allowed himself to lose control of his own guns. Now look at him, on the run. Great plan. Let's clap it up for him one time. Planning could not have gone better. Give your opponent a gun to use against you while he blocked all the bullets you gave to him. But don't worry, his planning gets better. He uses telekinesis on his gun once again so he can get a better angle while shooting at the pillar the dude was hiding behind because he deadass wasn't aiming at the man. Then he ran out of bullets and then ran into an ass whooping. Is this not embarrassing? Fight back. Use your abilities on some of the surrounding tables and toss them at him. Do something. He was allowing it to happen like his father signed a permission slip 10 years ago for him to get his ass whooped. This was an amusement park for him. Had to be. Got turned into the main character of pinball, then turned into a swifter to clean the jade-looking ceiling tiles. All the while, Henry went out to have a smoke and robbed the little girl for her art book. I'm telling you, deviants. And the both of them were only spared after Cassie told Henry that killing Nick would change the future far too much for him to like it. You gotta clap it up for Nick, man. Had 2 guns and got his ass beat. I never saw someone concoct a Madden play to get that ass beat. He loaded them guns to that max capacity to get his ass beat. After that massive failure, they head back to Kira, who is now experiencing the syringe withdrawals. But Cassie draws a picture of Kira's shoe where they find the key. Bring that key to Emily the sniffer, then she proceeds to smell the foot key. She smelled the location and a bag of cheddar cheese popcorn. But the key was protected by a better shadow than the one that Nick hired. But using both the Watcher's and Sniffer's ability, they locate the building. But the movie tosses a little twist in the mix for us. You remember Teresa, the stitch that healed Nick? She was called by the female triad watcher. Nothing happened with that yet, but just know that's stewing in the back for us. But hold on, Nick finally starts cooking with a decent plan. The triad watchers is better than Cassie. We know this for a fact. She sees the future based on her tent, so every time they decide to do something, she sees it. So Nick's plan was he was gonna write everybody a letter, so they had no idea of what they were doing until the moment they read the letter, and he was gonna have his mind wiped, so he doesn't even know what he wrote in the letters. See, he's finally thinking, and with that, the final stand starts, and the plan begins. Pinky brings Carrot to Henry for a little quick payout. Think he made a little extra dividends until he read the letter, telling him to bring the money to Nick so he can give it to a wiper, so the letters could be erased from his mind, and it worked. Look at the reward that stemmed from part 1 of his plan working. Part 2, Hookwater was sent to get the briefcase and make a copy of it, and finally the background plot came to the forefront. Teresa betrayed Nick, giving the briefcase to the screaming duo, stopping them from doing their one talent, screaming, saying that she was promised she get to kill him slowly. But what the hell did Nick do to her? She just want to feel a part of something. What did he even do to her? Did I miss a part of the conversation? But everything was starting to go to plan. The triad got the fake case. Cassie called and taunted the triad watcher about it. Nick boomed Teresa.
I hope so.
Cassie lured the Asian watcher into a trap and got her mind snatched mid-monologue, leaving Nick to pull up on Henry and Kara, who was pushing to believing she was an agent working for the division. Ended with them all arriving at the location of the briefcase and Nick getting embarrassed yet again.
What does that mean?
Like, damn, does he have one on-screen dub this entire movie? His dad led him into becoming a punching bag for the psychics, while Victor was showing us the viewers what it's like to really be a mover, and was moving it. And then the triad arrived armed and ready to take the briefcase, but Victor was not Nick and showed them that he really moved it. He real deal soloed an entire room of armed men, standing in the middle of a storm of bullets like the lead was nothing more than cold rain, just flinging them around, even tossing out the window, which freed Nick. I don't know why he was so excited to get back into the fray. He had 2 guns before, but it did nothing for him then, and I don't think he's gonna do anything for him now. Just look at Victor. That was Nick's potential. Okay, with his gun he caught a few bodies, but nothing like Victor. He was swatting humans like flies.
Get off that nigga, bro. What is you doing?
No glaze. Victor was just different. Even Kara was cooking with her abilities. The plot low-key helping her because the trigger-happy gunman stopped shooting and walked into her face, ready to fall victim to her influence. But you know, she was still doing shit. What was Nick doing, you asked? This. How many times can you allow your ass to get friction burn before you realize you're getting dragged this entire movie? Victor was moving him like a mouse cursor, sliding him over there, sliding him around a little bit over here, moving this nigga like a wet jet, and peep his walk down, not allowing any outside force to prevent him from furthering the harassment he was putting Nick through. Picked up whatever this was. Is this sugarcane? Bamboo? I don't know. But whatever it was initially was for Nick to get harassed with even further. But an NPC didn't know their role. Should just ask the sniffer to smell it out for them. But as soon as he turned around, Nick boomed him with a punch laced with telekinesis, flinging Victor backwards, laying him on his back. But this man Victor got up, took his jacket off, and forgot he had powers, and devolved into throwing his hands, primitive style, getting cooked in the process. Picked up, slammed, face mushed. Only when he remembered he had powers did he do something to Nick. Stick to using your powers. Never mind. Powers or not, it didn't matter. Nick got up, weaved a wide swing for Victor, and that was all it took to open the can known as ass whooping. Even when Victor put up some fight back, didn't work anymore. Hold a headbutt. All the aura Victor earned standing solo, dolo against an entire triad was gone. Nick wasn't doing it all like a poorly tied shoe until the screamers came in just to die. First one of the screaming twins, then the father who basically offed himself with some brief assistance from Nick, leading us to the end of the movie where I guess Nick ran out of telekinesis, allowing Henry to put the paws on him. Talking full doggy style. Then out of nowhere, Nick sucker punched him with a telekinesis lace punched, which did nothing and ended up taking a syringe.
Tap my veins and inject that shit right in it.
Faking his death so they can keep the real syringe. Okay. That's one way to do it. And then the movie ends with Kara reading a letter from Nick, regaining her real memories, and then pushing Henry to put a period on his life story. So that's it. No mother rescue. We're not rescuing her mother. She did a masterful plan just to not get rescued. I guess. If you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.
I came from the